Hi, nice to meet you guys. I'm Nicola, I'm 19 and I've been climbing for since I was 2.5 years old, kinda. I've stopped a lot of times. I climbed like once a month, let's say, till I was like 13 something. So my grade was about like 6B plus on site outdoors. On a route on lead. Then I started training. Started training in my garage and in the crag, obviously. I got to a one-arm pull-up fairly quickly, I would say, like in a year or so. So I was 14 when I got my first one-arm pull-up. Then I started training, I started competing, even if I never had any success. We might say I never even competed in a national competition, which is, I mean, not that hard to get to, but it was for me. So now I've stopped competing for I've stopped 3-4 years ago, something like that, and I just train because I love training, basically. What are my benchmarks before starting with this training plan that I'm gonna explain to you? My benchmarks are that I could do, like in November I did my PR of one-arm pull-ups, which was 6 reps, not that clean. I mean, not like calisthenics style pull-ups, like super straight body. There was a bit of keeping, I'm not gonna lie, but still proud of that. Then I can hang on the 20mm edge with 10 kilos one arm. And well, these are the standard ones. I feel like I'll put some videos, of course, of them. So 9A, nah, it was just a bit of clickbait. I'm not even interested in really like projecting a really hard route, like a 9A route, because it would take me months like to project it, to perfect it, and then to maybe send. So I will maybe the goal would be more like 8A flash something, like about that grade, or getting like to AB Boulder outdoors. That I would be more prone to project it, because I enjoy it more. So these are my benchmarks. I've done 7C moonboard benchmark at the second try. My gym doesn't have grades, so I can't really tell you my actual grade. Get an idea. I don't know how to say it. I just train because I love training. That's my thing. So how will my training be structured? This is the main part, and this is the most important thing. So how did I structure my training? I've structured my training in like this 8-week cycle, where I'm going to gain as much strength as possible. So what do I mean by that? I mean that right now I have I have a 60 kg weighted pull-up. But the thing is that 2 years ago I still had 60 kg weighted pull-up. So I've maintained the strength even though I wasn't training specifically for that, but I haven't gained anything since 2-3 years. So it's time for me, at least I wanted to do this as like an experiment. I know that of course strength doesn't always directly translate to climbing performance, but the thing was I did not want to plateau to this strength level forever. Yeah, and it's cool to be strong, you know. So I've structured this 8-week cycle where I won't be climbing as much, because I always like climbed a bunch, like my training was really climbing specific. So I would train like strength on short boulders. I wasn't that much into hangboarding, pulling movements, or other body training like weight training, which is actually quite important, and I recognized it myself. I just didn't like it because I'm not that strong at squatting or whatever. So the thing is, I actually started, as I told you, training in my garage. So I've always been somebody that doesn't really get bored of like hangboarding and whatever. It was just not something, well, I don't know why, but I felt like I had done enough when I was young, when I was 14, 15, in my garage. So I was more into climbing, perfecting technique, getting more flexible, getting on more ranges of motion. But I feel like there's a certain amount of strength that you actually need. You don't always need it, but it certainly helps, first of all, and then I feel like finger strength is not something you can actually escape from. Like, a lot of people say that, yeah, maybe Adam Ondra doesn't really hang for a lot of time or with a lot of weight on a 2 centimeter edge with one hand, but I feel like that's not true entirely. Like, it's not entirely true. Why? Because yeah, it might not have like the shoulder stability, the scapular stability to hang from a 2 centimeter edge, but I feel like his fingers are certainly strong. Like, it's mandatory to have at least a certain level of strength to climb a certain level of climb. So, this 8 week, how is it gonna be structured? Everybody wants to know, and now I'm gonna tell you guys. So, first of all, what are the rules? Like the general rules of the actual work that's gonna be done in this 8 weeks. The first 3 weeks will be a loading phase, so the intensity will be submaximal. I would do something like 6 sets or 5 sets of max hangs and 3 rep sets of pull-ups, weighted pull-ups. Then it's gonna be some intensification period between week 4 and week 6, where the RPE will go from 6, well, yeah, to 7 to 8, 9. Sorry for that. That's crazy. So and I would do like 4 sets of max hangs and 3 rep sets of pull-ups. Then the peak of this periodization comes in week 7, where I'll go for a low volume and high intensity. Then there will be a deload, and I would do another cycle structured differently, I guess. Maybe more into actual transferring the strength that I gained from this cycle to some actual climbing. So, how is it structured? Like, I won't get into the specifics because it might not be that interesting, but I've decided to do something like the first day of the week, so Monday, I go for fingers, and if I feel like it, some climbing, just to well, to get a bit of the, well, I love climbing, so it's not something that I can really explain. It's not that logical, since I could stop climbing for this period. At least I think that I could. It wouldn't be that detrimental. So then I, coupled with fingers, I do some pistol squats, which are the thing I like most to train my legs. It's more like some maintenance exercise. It's not like the actual heavy loading, but it's something that I do. So I do weeks, fingers 2 times a week, which is on the first, because I structure with the first 2 days of the week, then 1 rest day, 2 other days, then it's 3 other days, and then another rest day. So the first 2 days of the week is fingers and legs and mobility, of course. I'm a big fan of mobility and flexibility training in general. I can do the middle splits. I'm quite flexible by nature. I'd have to say that. So, well, it's not that much about training. Well, even if I'll show you guys something which is quite cool. I mean, I'm really proud of this, which is my middle split routine. So these, I don't know if you guys can see them, pretty sure you guys can't, but you see there's a lot of marks. When I started training, so I was saying like 13, 14, the day I started training, I was like, now I want to see if by doing the middle splits for just 20 seconds a day, how long it would take me. So every night I did the middle split for 20 seconds and I held the middle splits where it hurt the most for 20 seconds, and it took me 136 days to reach the middle split. Like, it was not perfect, but I had a middle split. So that's quite interesting. I mean, I'm proud of the piece of paper. I wouldn't want it to get destroyed. So I kept doing it every night. So it's been, well, I'm 19, so it's been 6 years that I mark that piece of paper every night. That's quite cool, isn't it? Yeah, it is. So yeah. So the second day is pulling, and same thing with climbing. I can climb if I want to, but then in the pulling day I don't really like to. Oh well, in the first day, the fingers first day, I also do some pushing movements just to, you know, be a functional human being for at least for what I can, you know. So some push-ups, well, not really push-ups, but dips, weighted dips. So it's more like fingers, then push-ups, dips, and pistol squats, so leg movements, whatever. And then I got pull, and in the pulling day I do some ab works, some oblique works, some core stability, and some rotator cuff exercises, like some external rotations, some, well, a few exercises. Well, if you guys want to, nobody's ever gonna watch this video, but if somebody watches this video, tell me, I'll show you an actual routine, or actually the actual exercises that I do. I mean, it's not like you guys should do them too, of course, because this is based on, well, my experience for what I can have, and also it's suited around me, so it might not work for everybody. Then there's fingers B, which is on the third day of this weekly schedule. So there's on the fourth day, because the third day is a rest day. And fingers B, because yeah, it's fingers B and the same approach. So fingers B and pulling B are coupled with legs and pushing movements, and pull is coupled with some core, whatever. So fingers A consists in some max hangs, which I've explained before, the loading, then some deadlifts with a pinch, which I hold for 5 seconds, because I found that holding the weight actually well, it gives me a better feeling. Like it feels to me like I don't really, it's more about the finger drag if I'm just loading, like pulling and putting it down instantly. Like it's more about the skin being holding friction on the pinch. Well, it might be my feeling, but I also find that if I hold it for 5 seconds, I tend to break my skin less easily while doing so. Then I've thought about this for a while now, which is training the wrist flexion and the wrist extension as if it was an actual, like, other part of the forearm exercise. So training it with heavy loads. I found a setup that I can show you because I don't have pictures, but I put well, I'll show you eventually. If somebody's interested, comment, I'll show you. So I can train really heavily, I mean not that heavy loads because I'm weak, but it's a great way to train the wrist extension and flexion really heavily. Because a lot of times you find yourself being in some parts of movements where that's actually the weakest link of the chain, you know, your wrist extension. Well, the extension is more for like injury prevention and whatever, so it's more of an experiment. So instead of doing like 12 reps for 3 sets, loading heavily, even the extension heavily, of course it's relative to the strength, because you can't not be that strong on that. And yeah, so this is it. There's max hangs on 2 centimeters for 5 sets of 7 to 10 seconds. I explained the load before. One hand, of course. If I need, a band, elastic band or something, I'll use it. Even if I could without, but we gotta be humble. So then there's pull-in A, which is weighted pull-ups. Of course, 4 or 5 sets, 3 to 5 reps, 4 minutes of rest in between. Then there's the loading thing, and then I do some one arm lock-offs, which is really hard after you've done a lot of weighted pull-ups, turns out. I mean, did not expect it, but it is quite hard. So I've got to I try to do 3-4 sets with 5 to 8 seconds of 90-degree lock-off. And then I tend to do some core exercises of front levers, which is not as much targeting the core, but more into the lats and things that I've already been trained with the pulling, so I don't do that much of it. Then the finger B sessions is the max hangs, and then I try to do some training on small edges, because I find it really hard, especially because my skin is quite soft. You guys can see it's like got a really soft skin. So what's the thing? I try to hang for 4 or 5 sets of 7 to 10 seconds on a progressively smaller edge. yeah, this is more about skin, but I want to also condition my claw grip, like this grip right here, because I'm really not strong, and I tend to do a full crimp like this instead of clawing on it. Then there's pulling B, which has campus boarding, which yes, also trains. Of course, I also do the wrist training in the finger B, and then there's campus boarding and 3-4 sets of 1 arm pull-ups, 2-3 reps for each arm, and so campusing and 1 arm pull-ups. So guys, that's it. Yeah, I'm closing it fast because it says 3 minutes, so I feel like the memory of the camera is gonna be filled in the next 3 minutes. So will I be able to gain the level I want to? Not sure actually. Pretty sure I won't, but this is good. This can be a cool experiment, I feel like. So follow me and I'll let you know if it works. I'll keep posting progress and whatever, if you guys are interested, of course. If you guys are not, then no worries. So yeah, this is it. This was my training plan. I hope I can achieve what I want to achieve, and that's about it. So see you guys.